I mentioned Speaker Burko had noticed the change in me, and my wife warned me about. She said, "You are one of the happiest people I know, Chris." When I started on my journey, she said, "You've had a problematic childhood. If you go digging, you might not like what you find." She was wary. She studied psychology as a degree. She's now a trained counsellor. She brought up two kids. So she said, "Be wary, be careful." But I've been on the journey now for 17 years. And I think I've never actually asked her. I'm assuming. I think she thinks I'm a better person. She better think that anyway. Because uh, one of the things that brought me into politics was anger. What I thought was righteous anger, but sometimes it was over righteous anger. And I think, again, like ego, it needs to be tempered. It needs to be the servant and not the master. And I think I still feel like that at times, but I have contained that anger. And servants, it doesn't lead me off in this direction or that direction. It takes me forward in line with my values. So I think it's helped me to temper my anger, my ego. It's helped me to be more balanced, more nuanced, not so black and white thinking, shades of grey. It's given me skills. It's given me gifts of the mind that have benefited me tremendously over the years. And the course that we followed in Parliament was Professor Mark Williams's book, Peace in a Frantic World. So it taught you about the importance of the breath and the anchor, also practical skills, which have served me well over the years. The ability to respond instead of reacting. An immediate reaction can end up with you in prison. It can end up with you losing your spouse. It can end up with you losing your job. I still have that little bit of that kind of outspokenness, but it's helped me to temper that. It's helped me to introduce that 1 or 2 seconds or even half a second that can make the difference between a reaction and a response. It's taught me about the importance of nourishment and depletion, that when you're in a high-pressured job, and if you're in balance, that's fine. But when you're at a bit of extra pressure, you start to go down and you ditch the things that balance you and you take on the things that deplete you and you go down and down to burnout. I try to keep myself at the top there in a position of balance. It's taught me about gratitude, gratitude for me. And I was born, raised, and still practice my Catholicism. And I think and it's not just in formal religions around the world, but indigenous religions, the ability to be grateful gives you perspective. So it's one of the great skills I think it's taught me now, because I have a chance to reflect this. Politicians are great finger pointers. I call it my hypocrisyometer. When I start to point this, or more in politics, when I started to point the finger at politicians opposite, quite often it would come back to me and hit me between the eyes. Chris, don't point that finger because you said that 5 years ago. You did that 10 years ago. And it can hold you back. It taught me about silence. I think that was the original reason because I couldn't figure, I didn't come to mindfulness from stress. I didn't want to improve my performance. And when I reflect back now, I think it was silence. Blaise Pascal, the French mathematician and philosopher, said, and I paraphrase because I can never get it all right, most of the badness that has come to humanity is because individuals can't sit in a room by themselves. And I think that's one of the great gifts of the mind that I have received from mindfulness over the years.